This is Duke University.
Welcome to the 2009 Duke Startup Challenge Elevator Pitch Competition. It's great to see so many of you here tonight, and we look forward to hearing some excellent pitches. I'm Vatsala, a senior majoring in economics, and I'm co-president of the Duke Startup Challenge this year. I will be your MC for tonight. So this year we're celebrating the 10-year anniversary of the Startup Challenge. So just to give you a little bit of a background about the Startup Challenge and the different phases of the competitions. So this year we have 3 distinct phases. The first phase is the elevator pitch competition, which will be running all this week. The second phase is the executive summary contest, starting in around late January. And look out for more details and information about that. And then in April we will have our finals event, which will consist of the investor pitch presentation and the business plan competition. So just to give you a little bit of a run through of what this week is going to look like with the elevator pitch competition. This year, basically, the elevator pitch competition consists of a series of track-wide semi-final events. 2 finalists from each of these events will move on to compete in our grand finals event on Friday, November the 20th. This year we have 7 tracks, 5 functional tracks, and 2 special interest tracks. Tonight's track, the undergraduate track, has actually been split up into 2 different rooms going simultaneously. In this room we will have 19 pitches, and one winner picked by the judges will move on to compete in the finals. We will also have an audience choice, and we will be giving out $250 in cash and $400 worth of software, QuickBooks Pro. So let me just run through the week. Tonight, as I said, is the undergraduate track. Tomorrow is the healthcare and services and energy and environment track. On Wednesday, we have the women and IT and media tracks. And on Thursday is the social enterprises and products and services track. I encourage you to come out to as many of these track-wide events as you possibly can. It'll be a great chance to see speakers going head-to-head. But I especially encourage you to come out to the finals event on Friday. It promises to be a great event with the 14 best teams from the week competing. And Bill Maris, co-founder of Google Ventures, will be our guest judge and our guest speaker for the night. There will also be a reception beforehand with free food and drink starting at 5:30 p.m. So yeah, definitely come out for the finals event on Friday. I'd now like to take a moment to give our judges a chance to introduce themselves. Perhaps you can tell us a little bit about your experiences and your connection to Duke.
Rich West, CEO of Advanced Liquid Logic, and I'm going to have the opportunity to speak, so I'll hand it over to Mike.
My name is Mike Rasmussen. I'm the CEO of Republic of Fun. I'm a Fuqua grad from '03. We're a developer and publisher of games for Wii, PlayStation 3, Xbox, iPhone, PC, and we have lots of fun.
Great, thank you so much. Before we move forward, I'd just like to take a moment to thank our generous sponsors, InterSouth Partners, a leading venture capital firm, Hughes Pittman and Gupton, an accounting firm for startups, Hutchison Law Group, a law firm for startups, iContact, email marketing software, Square One Bank, a venture bank for startups, Wyrick Robbins, a law firm for startups, Intuit, creators of QuickBooks Pro, and Palo Alto Software, creators of Business Plan Pro. I'd now like to give Mr. Richard West the floor so he can give his talk.
So since this is a school activity, we start with a quiz. So these are your 5 choices, A, B, C, D, or E. So I want to be an entrepreneur because you have to fill in the blank. So how many say A? That's a good one. B? C? D? Everybody's tired of education. And E? Yeah, that's a real one. It's a real one, particularly in this economy. So there is no right answer, of course. But I did want to walk through each of these and talk about what being an entrepreneur is really like in these different respects. I'm working on my third company. I've been with Advanced Liquid Logic since just after founding. It's a Duke Technology spin-out out of Pratt School of Engineering. We're chasing a brand new technology for medical diagnostics. It's very exciting. We're about 33 people. We've, between government grants and private investors, got about $25 million into it. And so far, so good. But in the life sciences, it takes a long time to get a product to market. It takes a lot of money and a lot of smart people. I'm also a graduate of Duke in engineering, and I teach in the Masters of Engineering Management program and entrepreneurship course as well. I've been a CEO/entrepreneur for about 15 years now across 3 companies, which means I've made most of the mistakes that are to be made there that entrepreneurs can make, although there are always a few more that you haven't yet heard of. But as far as being your own boss, the fact is that you're not really, in most entrepreneurial ventures, you're a servant to your customers. You're the primary source of financial support for your employees. You have mouths to feed. And that's a lot of responsibility. You're answerable to your investors, and usually you're a slave to your idea. And so the idea that your own boss is absurd, actually, when you're an entrepreneur. And as a practical matter, even if you're the CEO, you do have a board of directors, which is very often populated by your investors. And they will tell you what to do. So there are different kinds of things you can do to be an entrepreneur. I'm in the technology entrepreneurship. It takes a lot of money and a lot of time. If you want to be your own boss, don't go there. If you want to be your own boss, get a hot dog cart. That's at the other end. Then you can be your own boss. But generally, you have a lot of people to be responsible to, and the more money you need for your business, the more bosses you'll have, is a good correlation there. In terms of being wealthy, it can happen, but there are certain hazards along the way. One study I looked at said 18% of entrepreneurs are successful the first time, which means that failure is acceptable, even expected. When you go into entrepreneurship, and luck matters, skill matters as well, but luck does play a part in whether or not you can be successful. You can make some money along the way. If you're a CEO of a mid-stage technology venture, you might make a couple $100,000 a year. That's not bad. As an early stage entrepreneur in almost any kind of venture, you'll make nothing until you go out and raise money to pay yourself. That is the way it works. It doesn't start out being paid usually. So my own experience with wealthy is that piece has yet to happen after 15 years in the business, but this one is the one. So secondly, solving a problem. I think at its base, entrepreneurship is a creative act, and you get to build something from nothing. Choose something you're passionate about, because you will need that passion to sustain you through the trials and tribulations that inevitably come along. And solve a problem not just with a solution, but you have to solve a problem with the best solution if you're going to create a business. You know, your idea may be a brilliant insight, but building a business is more about sweat than it is about insight. And Peter Drucker, a famous management guru, has a great quote. He said, "Ideas do not move mountains, bulldozers do." So the idea can say where the bulldozer goes, but at the end of the day, the bulldozer moves the mountain. And so building a business, there is that first insight, but if you're going to successfully build a business, that has to be sustained with effort, with sweat. Education, D here, it is a way to continue your education. There are few more intense learning experiences than attempting to start a business. Not only do you have to become a domain expert in the area that you're starting a business, but you have to learn all sorts of other things: how to raise money, how to manage people, how to do marketing, how to sell, how to persuade people to come across to your way of thinking about how to solve a problem. Also, it's real world. My co-founder in the first business I founded had a number of catchy sayings, but one of his favorites, and we were in the medical hardware business, his favorite saying was, "You can't bullshit hardware." And there are a lot of things you can BS your way through, but there are also a lot of things you can't. You have to actually accomplish something, you have to actually deliver something, and so it's real world. And so you can't fake it, you can't study for it and guarantee that you pass. So that's a different element of education, but no less education. Even more so, building a business is about leadership. And so it's an opportunity to exercise your skills in leadership, develop skills in leadership. It builds character. Making a business work is about determination, about persistence, about hard work. These are prime elements of character. So building a business is educational as well. If you can't find a real job, then go start a company. It's not easy. It is up to you to succeed if you do this, though, and there's a great deal of responsibility in that. There can be fear in that, but once accomplished, there's a great deal of joy in having accomplished that as well. It's rewarding to be an entrepreneur. Even if you don't get rich, it's still very, very rewarding. You may, if you're lucky, create something and solve an important problem along the way. Particularly, I've been in the life sciences business, particularly medical stuff, for 15 years, and we've helped a lot of people, and that has its own rewards as well. And it is educational. You can learn an awful lot in starting a business. Remember that every large company that you've ever heard of started with an elevator pitch. So here you are. And I wish you good luck. And let it all loose, be brave, and hopefully we'll have some fun as well tonight. Thanks.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Richard West. And now I'd just like to introduce Stephanie Fruit, who has helped put this week together. She'll be our floor manager for tonight.
Awesome. Thank you, Václav. So thank you all for coming out tonight very much. Before we get into the pitches, we're just going to describe a little bit more about how this evening is going to work from here on out. So each of you competing, when I announce your name to pitch, I will announce who is competing and then who is on deck so that you can be prepared to pitch. When you come, please come up, stand behind the microphone. You can squeeze here if you need to adjust the microphone. And you will get, as you've been instructed, you'll get 2 minutes to pitch, followed by 3 minutes of Q&A with our judges. And then at the end of the event, when everyone is finished pitching, there will be 2 winners announced. One, our 2 judges will go out into the hall and deliberate for a few minutes. While they're doing so, there will also be an audience choice where you'll get to vote for who you thought gave the best elevator pitch via text messaging. So we will do that at the end of the event, so please make sure to stay until then. We'll take a break midway through, but there are 19 pitches, so we want to make sure to keep this night moving and get through everyone as efficiently as possible. So when you come up here to pitch, you will, when you begin speaking, Vatsala here will start the timer. You can kind of keep one eye on her. She'll give you a 20-second warning. And then when your 2 minutes are completed, a stop sign is going to come up, and we'll show that here in just a second. So what's going to happen from here to the end of the week, though, like Vatsala said, there's many different tracks going all different nights of this week. And the 2 winners from each of the undergraduate tracks, Von Cannon C, which we're in right now, as well as Von Cannon B, the 2 judges winners are going to advance to the finals event this Friday at Fuqua. And we encourage all of you to come out again, really, to see the different winners. But those 2 are going to advance to the finals event. And like Vatsala said, each one of our Judges' Choice winners will receive $150 in cash, as well as a copy of QuickBooks Pro. And our Audience Choice winner this evening will receive $100 in cash and a copy of QuickBooks Pro as well. At the end of your 2 minutes, this will be another piece of audience participation. We're going to ask that you help us stop that competitor if they're continuing to speak. And we're going to do this by asking you all to kind of yell with us, stop, when it's over. So, in a cheesy manner, we will practice. So if I'm speaking and Vatsala gives you a 20-second warning, show of the hand, and then when my time is finished, stop. Okay, pretty good. And we'll just try and do this and go from there. So we're going to launch right into the pitches. Are there any burning last-minute questions? Awesome. So you will get 2 minutes to pitch and 3 minutes of Q&A with the judges. The order is printed in your program, but I'll just give a running update as well. So first up is Centrozone, followed by synchronized blinking. Good luck, everyone.
Hello, my name is Juan, and I'm a senior biology major at Duke University. And in my research experience, I've recognized much inefficiency and disorganization within the system for ordering medical research supplies. My objective is to establish an interactive online media website designed to facilitate the distribution of medical research supplies. Centrozone will allow users access to all the major medical research supply companies. My goal is to establish a website by this Christmas. My team consists of myself, my chief strategy advisor, and 2 programmers. One programmer is currently working on the prototype as we speak. The other programmer is developing strategies for ad space-based profit accumulation. Now, the market for this is huge. Centrozone will cater to anyone and everyone working in the biological sciences. And unlike any other website currently online, in addition to my leading competitors, Centrozone will offer customizable experimental procedures, also known as protocols. These protocols will allow users to modify and adapt their experiments In addition, within each individual step of the protocol, there will be links to the different websites distributing the products, allowing users to compare, shop, and fully customize their experiments. In addition, I am heavily endorsed by my current PI in the Department of Gastroenterology. As of now, I need a monetary capital injection of $5,000. In addition, I need a marketing specialist and a finance specialist to help me polish out my balance sheet, in addition to developing strategies for marketing this idea around the Duke University Medical Center as a very promising launch point. Once again, this is Centrozone. Thank you for your time.
Well done.
Thank you.
I don't know if this is working. Okay, so I do have one question. You mentioned this addressable market of anybody that's working in biosciences. Do you have an idea, real-world numbers? How big the market is, what people spend for these kinds of things?
So at this point, we are still researching the market, but to give an idea, we have a very large medical center at Duke. In addition, there's the Research Triangle Park that consists of RTP, UNC, and NC State, these major medical centers that all do research. This area alone will provide a large user base for this website, and it will be a really good launch point to start a company like this.
So you say that your revenue model is advertising. How attractive is that demographic to advertisers? I mean, I'll concede maybe there is an addressable market, but is this really, are there advertisers that are actively spending money to reach that market right now?
Yes, based on our research, this is a very fertile market. There are a lot of websites that are similar to this that allow the comparison of medical research supplies. But unlike mine, we have interactive customizable protocols that distinguish ours. And there are lots of biotech companies that just love advertising their products on different medical research websites.
So what's your source of lasting differentiation here? This isn't something you can file a patent on. Presumably, what keeps Bio-Rad or Life Technologies from putting protocols on their website and continuing to sell what they sell on their website now?
Well, essentially, we are working with programmers right now to basically try to make this as soon as possible in order to facilitate a patentable website. We expect our website, our prototype, to be online by Christmas. At this time, we will have enough program online to possibly make a patentable design at that point.
So our protocols, it seems to me, would be specific to a particular research problem. How do you get protocols from one researcher that are going to be useful to another?
Of course. In my own personal experience, I've done a lot of experiments in my day, and there's a general outline for each protocol, but there's always going to be modifications. You're going to alter the amount of reagent you add to a particular step. You're going to do one step longer than another one. There's many ways to modify these protocols, and essentially we're just going to take the base and allow modifiable individual steps within this design.
Thank you, Centrozone. Now that we've heard from our first competitor, you have feedback forms that are on your chair or near your program. We are going to ask you to help give insight, critique, and support to those people pitching tonight. These are people who are trying to develop their business ideas, business plans. So please do take some time and fill out some of that feedback for some of the different people competing. You don't quite have enough papers for each one of the competitors, but there's some over here on more of the chairs, so maybe we'll try and distribute the rest of those to you. Yeah, give feedback, take feedback, yeah? So, all right, awesome. So next up is synchronized blinking, followed by power to go.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ben Hamner, and I'm a senior here at Pratt. I have an idea that I'm very excited and passionate about to present to you. My team is working on developing an innovative treatment for facial nerve palsy. Facial nerve palsy is a debilitating condition where half of a patient's face is paralyzed. Clinically, the biggest problem with this is the patient cannot blink one eye. Left untreated, this causes the eye to dry out, which leads to corneal infection and then blindness. Current treatment methods involve partially covering the cornea, for example, with an implantable gold eyelid liquid, or with sutures, and then regularly applying moisturizers. Our device, on the other hand, is like a pacemaker for the eye. It senses a blink in the good eye, then stimulates a corresponding blink in the paralyzed eye. Right now, we have almost complete development work on a fully functional prototype of this device. Initial testing of the prototype has been extremely successful. We've successfully detected blinks in over 9% of the time in human eyes, then have successfully stimulated a blink in a frog's eye. Moving forward, we're trying to do animal trials next semester in dogs. They're looking to file a regulatory submission to the FDA and then proceed with clinical trials. Right now, we're a team of engineers and doctors. We're looking to bring on board the marketing, the manufacturing, the legal, and the regulatory expertise necessary to transition this device from a prototype to a product that's implanted in humans and helping to alleviate their suffering. Also, we need help with or financial support to move forward with continued development in animal and clinical trials. This has the potential to be a $100 million market. How can you help us?
Intellectual property? You filed a patent yet?
Not yet. Like, that's where the legal expertise would help.
How would you say this is a $100 million market?
Because there's 40,000 people a year of this condition. If there's about, let's look at an initial market size of 10,000 of those 40,000 people, let's assume the cost of the device is $10,000 a device. That opens it up to a $100 million market.
So 40,000 new people need this device every year?
Yes, that is correct. The numbers on this are really soft. This is an average of reported studies that range from about 15 people per 100,000 people a year, or to 30 to 40 people per 100,000 people. The issue with facial nerve palsy is hospitals aren't required to report instances of it, so these numbers are based on extrapolating specific populations to the general U.S. population.
How does this condition happen? Is it a stroke-induced
It
condition?
actually doesn't really have a known cause. The drug causes edema or swelling around the 7th cranial nerve, but the reasons for that, sometimes trauma, but a lot of the times it's fairly spontaneous.
Who's involved in this besides you?
Let's see. My professor, my design team, which is a biomedical engineering professor, 3 other engineers, then 2 doctors who originally proposed the idea.
How does it actually sense that the one eye is blinking, and how does it cause the bad eye to blink?
It uses surface electromyography signals, which are changes in electrical potential that can be due to muscular contraction to detect an eye blink. Then to stimulate it, applies stimulating current to the radiculocyculi muscle, which is the muscle in humans that controls eye blinks. Thank you.
So next is Power to Go, followed by Date U.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Andrew First. I'd like to start off by asking the audience for a little participation. So I'm gonna do 5 push-ups. I'd like everyone to count off.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Ooh, that was hard. I actually used 1,500 joules of energy to do that. I wish there was something more useful that that amount of energy could be put to. Oh, aha! iPhones. How many of you have iPhones? They're very popular devices. One of the biggest complaints about iPhones is the very short battery life. So this is where Power2Go comes in. So I'm on a team, myself, 3 other engineers, and we have an advisor who's a consultant to the Stanford Research Institute, SRI. And we are developing this technology, which is essentially a human-powered charger for the iPhone. And it's not like any ordinary charger, because it uses a special technology developed by SRI called artificial muscles. And what they do is there's a special material that can bend when a current is applied to it, but also when it's bent, it can generate an electric current. And it's so powerful that it can basically reproduce the power from a wall outlet. Other features are that it's very fun to charge, so we're making an application where you can actually track all the time.
So if SRI owns this artificial muscle technology, then what is your defensible position?
So we're actually, SRI is looking to commercialize this technology, and so the consultant on our team is working with them to help create some kind of application that can be sold using their technology. So they can license it out to us.
So you would have an exclusive license for this market, for example?
Yes.
So what's, I've heard about little flashlight devices with magnets bouncing up and down and creating energy to charge your cell phone. What's better about this?
So this is a lot more efficient than those little hand cranes. This works very well, and it's also more natural. You can deform the material and squeeze it. There could also be potential for other attachments for other types of phones or an integrated flashlight. So when you ordinarily buy a wind-up flashlight, it could also charge your iPhone, so that's a bonus, and that's something people look to do.
Do you have an idea of the size of power-based iPhone and iPod accessories market?
I do know that the smartphone market, it's expected to grow to about 250 million units in 2012. And I'm not sure of the details on the accessory market, but that's a good fraction of that. And external batteries for the iPhone are pretty popular because the battery life is so bad. So this would essentially replace that.
How would you compete with the incumbents in this market that are already providing batteries or other power-based accessories?
Well, because batteries are something you have to maintain, so you have to worry about, okay, is my external battery charged? Now I have to charge that, and I have to bring that with me. Whereas if you have this in your car, let's say, you never have to go back and charge it. It's always there. And it works better than the other human-powered devices out there.
So we've heard about fuel cells for cell phones and things like this. Is this going to be the market before we don't need batteries anymore?
So I'm not sure if it'll actually replace electricity, but it's a good supplement. But batteries cannot do the job.
Are there existing hand-powered charging devices now for the iPod?
There are some, but they're not popular just because they don't work very well. They use a hand crank, and it's very hard to use.
All right, next is Debut, followed by Prevent Health Insurance.
Hi you guys, my name is Elsie and I'm a senior here at Duke, a women's studies major, so quite the opposite of the engineers and biomedical things that we've heard thus far. I'm here representing Date U, which is the first and only social dating site made for and by college students. The mission of Date U is basically to introduce college students or reintroduce college students to the somewhat novel concept of dating, which is to be held separate from hanging out or hooking up. So Date U basically combines social networking and online dating with a feature that allows users to get online and match their, matchmake for some of their single classmates. So you can suggest a potential dater or comment on a friend suggestion. And the reason that Date U is so attractive is that a lot of times college students don't have the opportunity to meet each other in a way that would facilitate like this type of interaction. So let's take an example of like Becky and Ben, for example. So Becky is lucky enough to go to Duke, Ben unfortunate enough to go to UNC. So because Becky is pre-med and otherwise involved in campus, she doesn't have a lot of time to be out and about, meeting other people at other schools. Which is unfortunate because she might never meet Ben, who shares her somewhat obscure love of comic books and aquatic animals. So this is kind of where Date U comes in. A third party or a friend of a friend would come on the site and matchmake, kind of see these two profiles and decide to do a little matchmaking. And this type of model more closely resembles what you see in the offline world. So basically, Date U makes use of revenue model that is advertising and selling digital items online. And I basically just want to make sure every Ben and Becky can have their happy ending.
Do you plan on having your own social networking site and the people sort of build their social webs on your site independent of their existing social networks?
Yeah, I think that something like this, a social dating site, is really appealing to a lot of people who feel that, Facebook lost something when it kind of went away from being exclusively for college students. So I do think that there is a market out there for another website that exclusively caters to college students and has a very distinct purpose outside of just like going on and like talking to your friends.
Do you have a team working on this?
Well, I am paired right now with two computer engineering students from NYU, and I kind of met them when I was doing a semester abroad, and we were sitting down brainstorming like most business ideas come to fruition. And so we started working, but this competition has kind of spurred me to really create a team that's going to allow me to really push this idea forward.
So I don't have a question, but I do have a suggestion.
Sure.
Have you looked at Facebook Connect, and I think MySpace also has an open API that you can allow your website to connect directly into their social network, so people can sort of bring their existing social network into your community. They don't have to completely recreate it.
Yeah, I think that would be the issue that I'm dealing with right now and looking at like other social networks and how people interact is that, because you, to an extent, like you do use your friends and social networks to say like, hey, have you met this guy? Like he's kind of cool or whatever. But at the same time, like there has to be a filter where you don't want everybody knowing your business. So I think that part of what's cool about this site is that it engages, it allows what happens naturally offline in your close social group of friends to happen online. So you have like maybe your friends and your roommates and like a couple other people, but not necessarily like the 1,000 friends that you have on Facebook.
Are there any dating sites that you know of currently that cater specifically to college students?
There's like these really awkward startups that are like college love, LUV, and like romance. They're all like pretty much not functional. Like they kind of have like one page and they're populated by like 30-year-old men, which just kind of sketched me out from the get-go. So,
Anything for 50-year-old?
that'll be my next venture.
So what traction do you have? What progress have you made building this site? Is this just an idea, or?
Well, right now we're actually working on the type of programming that it would take to create a website platform, which has really been an interesting learning experience for me, being that I'm a women's studies major and can barely turn on my computer. So, yeah.
Next, we have Prevent Health Insurance, followed by Wasabi. All right. Looks like we don't have Prevent Health Insurance. All right, we have Wasabi, followed by Switch Energy.
How you doing? I'm Dan Certain, and this is Trevor Reagan. We're the creators of Wasabi, an innovative restaurant concept that is hoping to do to sushi what Subway did to the sandwich and Chipotle did for the burrito. Healthy consumers are tired of the typical sandwich and salad options, and that's where sushi comes in.
Exactly. And right now, sushi is very limited. You can either go to that expensive sit-down restaurant, or you can eat that day-old sushi in a plastic box from the grocery store. Consumers shouldn't be forced to choose either quality or convenience. That's why Wasabi makes it easy, because we provide both. Now, we're able to do this by using that have-it-your-way ordering system used by Subway and Chipotle, the #1 and 2 franchises in the entire world.
Now, you might have heard that the restaurant industry has about an 80% failure. So why are we so confident about Wasabi? First, we've come to realize that the fast casual industry is growing at a rate double that of the restaurant industry as a whole. Second, research shows sources as varied as Men's Health to Business Week have said that sushi is the largest growing food trend of our generation. But who's catering to this market? Wasabi is the first fully customizable and affordable quick service sushi restaurant ever.
And hey, we're all sushi lovers, and that's why we're embarking on this venture. But we realize the key to our success is the quality and authenticity of our food. Now, to ensure these two things, we've been in contact with Philip Yi. He's the director of the Sushi Academy and runs a number of successful sushi restaurants in Los Angeles. Philip's expertise, combined with our concept, creates a formula for the next great restaurant chain in the United States.
That's right, Trevor. And this is where you guys come in. We're looking for a $200,000 investment, as well as your expertise in the area of restaurant finance. Our long-term goal is to franchise Wasabi, and we believe with your help, we can put a Wasabi on every college campus across the nation.
Thanks a lot for your time. I hope you like what you heard, and you're going to love what you're about to taste. Thank you.
A 13 when we made that. He wasn't allowed in the room, so
I'm
he's out.
definitely a sushi fan, so I'm intrigued. I think it's interesting that you say this is a new idea to have sushi as a quick service restaurant, because sushi really is the original quick service restaurant. I mean, that's
that's the thing. It's the original fast food, but there's nothing like this, like our idea, where you can customize. You can go and say, I want the crab and the cucumber, and make it, and they make it right there in front of you.
Yeah, a lot of times, especially kind of taking my friends from really diverse backgrounds that maybe never experienced sushi, they come in, they're like, wow, this roll sounds great, but I don't like mayo. Maybe like you put spicy something. Like they don't have that option to do that at a sushi restaurant just because you're kind of constrained to those choices.
So I think in its conception, it sounds really interesting, but I have real concerns about your ability to actually scale and to create something that can be sort of on the industrial scale that that McDonald's and.
Do you have any idea how much money that takes?
Yep, we've gone over the numbers.
Yeah, we've basically determined that to open up a store, it's going to cost us $180,000 for the initial store. And we've kind of run through those numbers because obviously you need to start with the success of one store before you can think about franchise. So basically where we stand right now, we're looking to open it up on UMC's campus on Franklin Street, kind of as a test run to see if this model really does work. Because from what we're projecting and from the people we've talked to and the research we've done, yeah, people seem to be interested in this model. So once we can prove that that works, then we're looking for help from restaurant franchise people that franchise restaurants, kind of in order to grow this, just because we obviously don't have that experience.
And our overall plan is not just one restaurant. Like, we're thinking big picture, every major college campus. So it's not just the restaurant, it's the franchise concept.
So help me understand the concept itself. So how is someone going to be able to go, and how is this going to be quick service if they're customizing exactly what they get on the sushi roll?
It's going to be just like Subway. Where are you going?
Yeah, basically the average time that a Subway sandwich creator takes to go from bread to bring you up with your meal is about 2 minutes. And we've done several time trials with sushi, and basically you can roll it in 2 minutes or under. So the timing is about the same as a Subway, and basically, although people kind of are mystified by the idea of sushi, you just are putting the ingredients in the same way you're doing a sandwich. So it's really the same concept.
So what's protectable? How do you get this out there and win the franchise game?
Yeah, there obviously you can't patent something like this because we're kind of borrowing the idea from somebody at work. So we're kind of going with that first mover advantage, and we're kind of going to that, catering to that college audience to the beginning. And we kind of think we can kind of create a crate here in North Carolina and say, look, here's 2 college kids who started this, and they're making great sushi, what a great idea, and we can kind of build that hype. Because I mean, that's basically what Subway did.
We're going to use that to our advantage. The college students started this. We're going to be able to give talks in universities and then put a wasabi on their campus, and it's just going to kind of build up that way.
Other examples that have worked on college campuses, about cereal restaurants.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, next we have Switch Energy, followed by National Field.
So my name is Kapil Ramachandran. I'm the project leader for Switch Energy. The idea is, the major energy crisis, which is one of the biggest problems the world is facing today. And providing a renewable, clean source of energy is really what the world is really striving for. And many biotech companies are trying to obtain a way to do this. The goal of this project is to basically harvest bioethanol from switchgrass and to provide green power on a commercial scale that individuals can use in their house. So what makes this different from every other thing that is out there right now? We're using a procedure that has been modified by us, that is protected by a provisional patent that I filed this summer, on a process by Zhang and Virginia Tech. It employs modest reaction conditions, which means that we don't have to put in a lot of high temperature, high pressure processes, which are going to increase the amount of energy that goes into the process. It's the highest yield process that has ever been documented to date. And the chemicals that are used are not corrosive to the environment. And in addition, the chemicals that are used can be recycled, which means that the process is even more sustainable than what many refineries use right now. Dietic, a company based in North Carolina and Florida, provided us enzymes for our initial testing. We had a very successful initial testing. And these enzymes are catered specific to the process that we're using. And finally, the Zymomonas mobilis, which is the bacteria that we're using to convert sugars to ethanol, are genetically engineered also for this process. Now, the financial end of this is for each small-scale plant that we plan to use, it's about $4,000. And we're using this, and we're going to try and implement this in the Duke University Smart Home. The engine itself hasn't been really looked at yet because it's too far down the line. We want to focus on what's ahead of us right now. But for every ton of switchgrass, we plan to obtain about 120 liters of ethanol. And for every 400 liters of ethanol, you can obtain a return of $28, which means that the time to return your investment.
So what's the time to return your investment?
It's 2 years. You can get your investments back, for each plant in about 2 years of time. And the idea is, if you scale this up, the more ethanol you obtain from each batch of switchgrass, it's going to be the lower and lower. It's going to be more and more profitable.
So what specifically will you sell?
So we will, the entire thing that we're going to sell itself is going to be the plant plus the engine. It's going to come in a package, and it's going to be basically a block, which has, all you have to do is feed in switchgrass, and out comes ethanol at the other end in about 2 or 3 days. And so the automation itself is going to be controlled by National Instruments LabVIEW software and LabVIEW technology. We're going to use a lot of their processes and controllers to make sure the process goes well, and it can be monitored by an offsite computer.
Where do I find switchgrass?
Switchgrass is actually grown almost anywhere. The yields per acre are up to 12 to 16 tons, depending on how fertile your land is. Even for very, very unfertile land that like corn has been grown on, then thrown away, you can get 4 tons of switchgrass. And so it's very, very easy to grow and very, very low maintenance and uptake. And it is actually one of the best energy biomass crops out there, as you can get the highest amount of cellulose per ton of switchgrass, per ton of biomass.
So why would I do this?
Well, very simply, it's a very easy way to obtain ethanol, which can power your house, for example. You can use it in your cars. If you plan to build an E100 engine, we're also looking at planning E100 engines for cars, so that we can start pitching to the automotive industry if we have to.
What level of investment are you looking for?
So right now, just for the small-scale plant itself, For each one, it's $4,000, but for testing itself, we're looking at about $25,000 to $50,000 as an initial scale investment, so we can start building a plan. We can get other investors into this, which you've actually already begun talking to some private investors, and they seem to be extraordinarily interested in this. And,
Very good.
All right, thank you. Next we have eventeasy.com, followed by Immunodisease Dispense Pro.
Wait, I'm National Field, I think.
All right, you're next. Sorry, sir.
All right, my name is Brendan, and I have a bit of a cold, so if my voice cracks, it's not because I'm going through puberty. And so I'm a freshman here at Duke, and I took a gap year last year, and I worked in the Obama campaign. And one thing that the Obama campaign really stresses is this principle of what gets measured gets managed. So it was really important to them that all organizers, all the people that were working on the campaign, reported daily. But the problem was this was a really cumbersome and tedious process. So National Field was started to kind of solve this very simple problem, to make what was spreadsheet hell, essentially, a little bit streamlined. And so what we did was we created this online platform that made it easy for organizers to report and to aggregate their data. And then what we found was we created this culture of accountability and self-management. And what we took people out of their silos, and we provided them an easy way to see what other people on the campaign were doing. And we just motivated people. We created this sense of competition. And like for instance, we increased output among volunteers by 300%. We were used in most of the battleground states, Louisiana. We were involved in the largest statewide voter registration drive in American history in Georgia. And so the Obama campaign ended with us winning, obviously. And since then, we formed as a company. We raised some money. We opened offices in DC, and we added clients like the Democratic National Committee, Organizing for America, the British Conservative Party.
So you're currently in operation right now?
Yeah.
With all these clients, and do they have some sort of subscription model or something?
Yeah, we're software as a service.
Okay. So are you looking for investment?
I mean, we're working with Chris Hughes, who is one of the Facebook co-founders, and he's at General Catalyst Ventures right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're working with him. I mean, we're profitable, so I mean, it's just a question of how quickly we'd like to expand.
So are you looking for an investment?
Yes.
Yes. How much are you looking for?
In the range of low 7 figures.
Okay. And what will you do with that money? I mean, it seems like you're already underway. You've got a business.
Yeah. So I mean, the big question is whether or not we want to expand the business right now. Obviously, our short-term goals are the Obama re-election campaign, and we're working. We recently signed on with a PR firm and a chain of Midwestern banks. So it's just a question of how quickly we would like to expand into the small business market.
How would you expand in the small business market? So it's basically, as I understand it, it's a tool for sort of organizing large groups of people that are volunteering or.
Yeah, I mean, the same concepts of accountability and reporting based on metrics translate to certain types of businesses. So like, whereas during the campaign, organizers reported on how many doors they knocked. For our PR firm, it's the same thing. They're going around knocking on doors. They can use that same thing, and we've expanded our platform considerably. We added a lot of like social features. So I mean, we do offer a lot of value to businesses.
What's unique and protectable here?
So, I mean, we actually don't think of ourselves as a software company. We're kind of selling the same culture that won Obama the White House, where like this culture of accountability and self-management. we're taking people that are managed and making them self-managing by making it easy for them to see how their peers are doing, how they're doing over time.
Thank you.
All right, it works again. Okay, now we have eventeasy.com followed by Immunodispense Pro.
Hi, my name is Rhea Ka. I'm preventing eventeasy.com. The idea for this came to me when I was trying to organize some performance opportunities in the community for a dance group on campus, the dance group that I'm in. And I realized that I didn't really know who to contact in the community, and I didn't really know how to go about booking opportunities for us. So I thought that EventEasy would be a great resource for this type of thing. So EventEasy is an online tool that connects talented people with people searching for talent. So it's a website that users can log in as either a performer or event planner. This is just a mock-up of what a performer's profile might look like. So performers can include information about themselves, contact information. There's an area where they can upload videos, MP3 files, photos of their work, keep a blog, and also a rating system that is determined by the event planners who are in contact with them and who book them. And event planners can also put information about themselves or their organization, as well as keep a calendar and upload events to an interactive calendar that will be visible to all the performers, and all these profiles will be visible on the EventEasy website. So this tool will make money in two ways. First of all transactions will occur online. So EventEasy will take a very small cut of each transaction that occurs, as well as incur revenue from advertisements online. This is a really great, direct, easy way for event planners to have access to a wide array of performances and talents, as well as an indispensable resource for every type of performer looking for opportunities, from the student group searching to reach out to the community, all the way up to the aspiring singer-songwriter who is looking for more recognition. So, thank you.
How do you find customers? How do people find you?
Well, that would be done through, I guess, advertising on college campuses, because right now I'm kind of looking to aim at more student groups on campus looking to reach out to the community, and then just slowly build up through just online advertising or advertising through venues or places where people who are looking to book people or perform might search.
How does this currently happen? How do event planners find performers?
They just create a profile on here, and there's like a marketplace.
No, I'm saying without eventeasy.com, is there a market for event planners to find performers?
I feel like it's just most event planners have like an event planner network, and they have set people that they know they can call for certain things. But I feel like for that it's a bit hard to reach out to maybe new performers or new performance troops who might not already have a repertoire built up within the networking or the event planning network.
So I see how that's useful for the performers, but I'm not sure how it really is valuable for the event planners.
Well, for the event planners, it provides a wider array of groups, so they might find groups that they might otherwise not have found within their own network or within the common people that they might call for specific jobs.
How do you contract? Contracting is a difficult thing in this.
Right. Well, that would occur, I mean, this is more for like booking an audition if the event planner chooses. They don't have to book them for certain through the website. They can meet them first, and if there is a contract involved, then that can occur face to face.
So what's the transaction here in the tax here then? What money is exchanged?
How much the group charges to perform at certain events. So that will occur online, and it's just quick and easy that way.
What's your team?
Right now it's just myself, and I'm looking for programmers and maybe one or two people to bounce ideas off of and market with me.
And are you looking to raise money as well?
Yes.
How much do you think you'll need to get to a level that you can show something off?
I would say maybe somewhere between 5,000 to 10,000.
Programs are cheap these days. Very good.
Yes, awesome. And you know this one's correct. Thank you.
By the way, as you can tell, Brad are accepted.
Hi, my name is Jamie Wilkie, and I'm here to talk to you about the ImmunoDispense Pro, a safe and reliable dry powder device. For over 3 million Americans, a simple meal or snack can be a deadly activity. But why? Well, this population has a peanut allergy, and for them, peanut exposure can lead to anaphylaxis and death. Until now, there were no treatments which offered long-term effectiveness in desensitizing allergic patients to peanuts. However, in a new treatment, oral immunotherapy, patients build immunity to peanuts by taking increasing doses of peanut powder daily. Unfortunately, this process can be labor-intensive and time-consuming. To solve these problems, leading researchers at Duke University developed the ImmunoDispense Pro, an automatic in-home powder dispenser, which eliminates most doctor visits, and the patient can be confident that they're receiving the correct powder dosage every day. Upon FDA approval of oral immunotherapy, the ImmunoDispense Pro will be a necessary purchase for over 600,000 children with peanut allergies in the United States. This market can be further expanded to the over 3 million adults with peanut allergies and to those with milk and egg allergies as well. Because few have developed devices which meet our necessary safety specifications, our patent protection will be strong and prevent others from developing a similar device. However, our strongest competitor is the current paradigm which encourages complete avoidance of allergens. In order to combat the effects of this status quo, we will use strong clinical results, effective advertising, and distribution through certified allergists. Finally, in order to cover our initial startup costs and final stages of research, we require an initial investment of $1.5 million. In 5 years, we expect a 23 times cash-on-cash return and a 95% IRR. These impressive returns are achievable because the ImmunoDispense Pro will improve the lives of over 3 million Americans. Thank you for your time.
Is it actually successful to treat peanut allergies by increasing the dosage?
They've seen efficacy. They've done the initial trials in children, and they've done trials. There's a huge clinic over at Duke Med, and then they're doing that at Mount Sinai and Johns Hopkins as well. So they're not quite sure of the timeline, but they've seen really impressive results so far. So FDA approval, is in progress. It's definitely seen impressive results.
What do you think the total amount of money required to bring the product to market through FDA approval is?
From until FDA approval? Well, we're hoping that our investments because we're just the device, we're not promoting the treatment, that we're going to be focused on pushing forward the clinical trials. So in our budget and those numbers, because we're a Class 3 device and require those clinical trials, we've added in the $25,000 per patient for those clinical trials. So we're hoping to move along the process, but we're also hoping that those out there advocating for oral immunotherapy share in some of that funding as well.
So what does the device actually do?
So it has a canister at the top, and it shakes and rotates to the exact measurement that you need. So the measurements of the peanut powder are less than a gram, and they need to be really accurate. So we prevent clumping from shaking and vibrating, and it has some rotating funnels. So, when you press a button, it automatically dispenses the right amount. So the advantage is the doctor tells you how much you're supposed to take that day. They can plug it in, and so that you're getting the right amount every day. And then it's adjustable, so if you increase your dosage for the next week, you don't need to go into the doctor. You're saving that visit, you're saving time, and then you just reprogram to the new dosage.
It's been my experience that it takes about $25 to $50 million to get a device like this to market. So it was $1.5 million. $1.5 million is an initial investment, or that's what you think it's going to take?
Well, because it's a Class 3 device, you see that as happening. So we probably then would need more. We pretty much looked at the patent costs, the lawyers, the final stages of research. So we might need to go back and increase that initial investment due to the fact that it's a Class 3 device to push it to market. It's good feedback, thank you.
How do you see yourself? I mean, I guess what I'm struggling with is it's an interesting idea, but it seems like somebody could pretty easily also create a device that does exactly the same thing.
Right.
I mean, is your competitive position come from how far you get through the FDA trials, or what?
Well, our competitive position is really that there are no devices that have the similar safety specifications. So by filing a patent that's, pretty tight, we're hoping to be able to solve that.
Followed by Prosodia. Nope. Okay. So I guess next we have Prosodia, followed by Dorm Room Cleaning Service.
Hi, my name is Matt Byrne, and I'm part of the team developing Prosodia. Prosodia is a device aimed at aiding speech therapists in treating individuals suffering from aphasia, apraxia of speech, dysarthria, and a variety of other expressive speech problems. Imagine you're one of the 1.6 million Americans who currently suffers from one of these afflictions, and as a result, you're unable to produce appropriate speech prosody, which includes things like rhythm, stress, pitch, and intonation. Currently, your best option for treatment would be to work with a speech-language pathologist who likely has a very packed schedule and can only offer you severely limited one-on-one time. Your progress would likely be slow and largely outside of your own control. With Prosodia, we intend to change that. Prosodia will simulate and supplement individual therapy sessions by guiding users through a series of modules that are specifically targeted and customized to treat various aspects of speech prosody. In a given module, users will be faced with a word, phrase, or musical lyric, and will be prompted by visual and audio cues to say it back correctly. Importantly, the device's internal processing system will be able to assess the accuracy of the patient's verbalization and give them feedback on this and give the therapist data onto whether or not they were being successful in their verbalizations. This is incredibly important because A, it differentiates us from all the competition, and B, it gives therapists confidence in the ability to assign Prosodia assignments as homework to their patients and thus save valuable one-on-one time. Based on our market research, we would target the device to the over 100,000 speech therapists in the United States, and based on our financial projections, we would need just over $1 million to get off the ground and can get a cash-on-cash return of over 4 times in under 5 years, given a very conservative market penetration of only 2%. The market is large, the technology is unique, and the benefits are real. Thank you.
Have you actually built anything yet?
So the idea for the device is based on research and an actual prototype that was developed by researchers at UNC. That's based on slightly different ideas that was specifically targeted towards an individual with autism. In talking with speech-language pathologists both at UNC and at Duke, we've been able to sort of target the ideal place for a prototype like that would be in a more holistic sense of targeting all aspects of speech prosody. So there's an approximate prototype for it, but not quite an exact one.
So you see this as a device, not just software?
Yes. And we came to that conclusion based on extensive conversations with speech-language pathologists who sort of thought that the model of giving out individual devices to the patients would be much preferable to something that would operate on their computer or iTouch or iPhone or something like that. So we're trying to sort of appease the market that we're addressing here by going with an actual device.
Won't that increase, and that's going to exponentially increase your cost to market and marketing and manufacturing? I mean, you mentioned the iPod Touch. It seems
right
ideal for this kind of application.
Right. Well, the reason we went with this is, so a price point for this that many speech therapists say they would spend is about $600. If we go with an iPod Touch, then they're still going to have to spend $200 or $250, I think, on that iPod Touch themselves, which means we're getting less of that profit, or we have to mark up our cost, which is going to deter them from buying our product. By going with this, we estimated our cost of goods sold is under $200, even when you factor in contract manufacturing. So it's actually more profitable to go to this route, and it keeps the cost low for the people who are actually buying it.
So who writes the check? Is it the patient or the speech
Well, it would work in many different ways. Primarily, we're going to target it to the actual speech therapists, and they're often in labs with universities or with individual firms.
And so does the patient take it home to do their homework?
Precisely.
Or so the patient doesn't have to pay anything? Speech therapist writes the check?
Well, in certain cases, the patient would be paying for their services already, so this might, be entailed within that. But they're not actually buying the units themselves. The therapist would have many on hand in their firm or their research.
Any IP wrapped around this? What's protecting you from?
Right, so we haven't filed for a patent or anything yet, but we've done extensive IP analysis research and discovered that there's nothing that would block us from getting it. And we think that because of the unique features of the feedback system, we'd be able to block other competitors from entering the market in here and have relative freedom to operate.
So what does the device have to be able to do? You're talking about the actual hardware. It has to have a display, it has to have...
A display, a speaker, and a microphone, and a processor.
Thank you. Next we have dorm room cleaning service, followed by education exchange corps.
Hi, my name is Kelsey Wang, and I am the founder of Dorm Room Cleaning Service. Take a second and think about your dorm room. Does it look like this? Did you have a late night party and there's trash stewed out everywhere? Well, the problem is 18 to 22-year-olds don't exactly have cleaning on their top priority. School, work, friends, life is hectic. That's where Dorm Room Cleaning Service steps in. We are a comprehensive housekeeping service that will come into your dorm room and perform a comprehensive service such as vacuuming and mopping your floors, dusting and wiping every surface, cleaning your dishes, cleaning your fridge, and much more. So this comprehensive housekeeping service will be cheap and affordable to everyone. The market is huge. There are 18.2 college students this year in 2009. So think about that, 18.2, and there are no dorm room cleaning services out there. Therefore, we have a competitive advantage being the first and specialized dorm room cleaning services. Traditional housekeeping service does not offer the service to dorm rooms, so we will be specialized and will be cheap and affordable to everyone. Therefore, we're asking for a starting capital of $20,000, which is relatively low for this kind of service, and we are thinking of starting out in colleges in the Triangle area. If it's successful, we'll expand it to major cities, an area where all the state schools are. We calculated that the profits could run up to $5 million a year. Now, I have a team, a marketing assistant, and I have a financial assistant that will also help along with the service. Thank you.
So why do you think there are no dorm room cleaning services?
I think that it's a hard service to come along with because you've got to be careful about where to put people's books and because I don't think maybe sometimes a lot of college students are picky with where they would like their stuff put, and there's also problems with stealing. But I would counter that with a very careful training session with all the employees, do background checks, make sure they're reliable, and also we will have to cover like the pickiness. We can have students put up comments about what they don't want to be touched, what they want to be touched, to make it fit for the student.
Could it be that college students don't have a lot of money to pay for this kind of service?
I've thought about that, and that therefore we're making it cheap and affordable for everyone. For $30, you could get it. It's like spring cleaning. You could get everything clean for $30. I think a lot of students can afford that, and I don't think it will be a problem.
Then how are you going to be profitable?
Because most of my workers are going to be about at minimum wage. So if you think about that, that's about a $20 profit just from one cleaning.
So how will you manage turnover? I mean, if you've got minimum wage workers, you'll have a lot of turnover. That'll eat into your profit.
I think that I think that with the turnovers, I will have lots of different employees, so that would also help along with it.
So how far along are you in formulating this idea? Do you have a business plan or?
We actually do have the beginnings of a business plan out. That's why we came up with a beginning of a 20,000 capital, because we think that's enough to start an office, hire a couple employees, start out with the Triangle area and see where that takes us. We're also looking for more team members too. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have an Education Exchange Corps followed by Duke Craigslist.
Short person's track. Go ahead. Okay, this is a long-term investment idea, just so you know. My name's Eli Gross. This is my partner, Lauren Lee Houghton, and we're the co-directors and co-founders of the Education Exchange Corps, a nonprofit organization that is currently active in St. Louis, Missouri. We provide 3 different services. One is the teaching assistantships. 2 are administrative internships with the district. And then the third is research to inform education policy. So for the teaching assistantships, we go around to local colleges and local college students, and we recruit them to work directly in elementary school classrooms. And the teaching assistants really have a lot to offer to the kids there. They work with classes as a whole or small groups of students that really need the extra attention. For the second part, the administrative interns work at district headquarters under different departments. And these aren't the typical college internships that you usually get, but for example, last summer, one of our interns actually helped revamp the entire science curriculum currently being used for the St. Louis Public Schools. And then finally, what's perhaps the most innovative aspect of our project is our research program. Currently, we encourage all of our alumni to take their experiences back to the classroom, but eventually we will be creating an online platform that will allow college researchers all across the world to collaborate on issues dealing with education policy. To give you an idea of what we've done so far, over the past 2 years we've done this. We've placed 150 college participants to help over 1,000 kids in the city of St. Louis. The elementary school we've been working with for the past 2 years has become one of the brightest performers in the district. But the reality is that these kids really do deal with the tragedy every day. If you look at just this room as a classroom in a high school in St. Louis, only this half would graduate with a diploma. So we really ask you to help us change the realities that they face today. Thank you very much for your time.
So what's your ask? How can we help?
So in order to increase the involvement of our college participants, we'd really like an initial investment of probably around $25,000 to help with transportation costs. St. Louis is unfortunately a city that doesn't have very good public transportation. And we're not thinking of buying our own bus and transporting people, but they do have Zip cars there. So in order to have some kind of refund system where college participants can pay for a Zip car and then we'll pay them back for it.
Really decentralized kind of transport system for getting to the schools because they're very dispersed throughout the city.
How do you see this idea scaling beyond St. Louis?
So this summer we actually we visited a bunch of different urban school districts. We went to Chicago and Memphis principally, and we sat down and talked with their volunteer service departments in their district headquarters, and really asked them, what would you need in terms of where's the hole in your volunteer services, and especially with college students, and how can our program specifically address that? And both Chicago and Memphis really saw a place for our program there. They really, even though Chicago is a city that has a lot of colleges already in it, their particular system really lacked a specific method where they could get students who not only could work in the classrooms, but also could do internships, and then also work towards a common research goal.
We've been doing this for the past 2 years with just about no investment at all. So just because we are so nimble and able to really develop this flexible, different programs for different districts, has been really attractive. And then Washington, D.C. was another one that's been interested just from the get-go 2 years ago too. New Orleans.
Are these unpaid internships?
Yes, the internships are paid, but they get paid well, knowing that they help so many children.
Absolutely, and we're also relying in part on universities to subsidize some of the efforts that they're doing, and then part of actually the compensation that schools have to give to their students, part of that has to go towards community service projects as well.
How do you measure your success right now?
Currently, we've got a bunch of different research measures, but we've had some difficulties with the district in terms of taking data out. So right now, most of those measures are actually coming from the interns and the teacher assistants themselves, but we also rely on our personal communication with all the teachers we work with, the principals there.
Yeah, in terms of anecdotal feedback, the main school that we've been working with for the past 2 years was actually visited by Arnie Duncan in August, and he gave a speech about how their improvement has really changed the way that you can see education in urban districts.
He's the Secretary of Education.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, we have Duke Craigslist, followed by nomore.com.
Hi, my name is Ming Kim. I represent the Duke Craigslist team, and I'm just going to talk about a little bit about my textbook trading. As an undergrad average student, I spend about $400 or more so every semester on this textbook, and I usually have two choices. I can either go to the Amazon or eBay to save money, but I still have to deal with this shipping and handling. It takes time, it wastes money. It's not really appropriate for a busy student like myself. I can also go to the Duke textbook store, which is on the second floor of this building. Let's face it, they're just robbing us blind with their buyback prices. So we came up with a new solution, which is a website. Just like Craigslist or eBay, we want to help students, Duke students specifically, to easily trade textbooks or use furniture online. And this website will be specifically designed to facilitate Duke students. So it will have features like interactive campus map to decide meeting times and places, or a discussion forum so students can actually share information before taking classes or buying textbooks. Now, we have a lot of competition for this. Competitions like ULoop or Duke List is currently wildly unpopular among Duke students, mainly because they're not customized to Duke students or not very easy to use. For example, ULoop currently has 19 listings for Duke students, and that's for entire Duke undergrads. And I can tell you that that's been sitting there for 1 year. So nobody's actually using them. So our business model is to take a small percentage fee from each individual post, and we currently have 8 different undergrad-only members. 2 of them has design experience. I myself am a coder. We also have other experts in market research and entertainment. Thank you.
So what's going to prevent you from suffering the same fate as ULoop and Duke?
Like I mentioned before, it's going to be specifically designed for Duke students. The reason why we actually did some market research for ourselves, and the reason why the ULoop or College Swap or sites like Duke List is not working is that they're not very intuitive to use. This is actually a generic. They have a generic layout, and is not specifically designed to facilitate this sort of trading. Also, the ULoop is not popular because they haven't done a lot of advertising among Duke students itself. And we plan to, for example, we're going to use free T-shirts or stuff that only Duke undergrads can do in Duke University to advertise our website.
Have you thought about scaling this business beyond?
Right. We actually have thought about that. Actually, the market for Duke undergrad textbook market is it's actually more than 2.5 million. It's about $3 to $3.3 million per year. The entire U.S. market for textbook market for higher education is about $5.5 billion, which is uncomparable to that number. If we can actually capture even 0.1% of that, that would be awesome.
Yeah, but then you're suffering the same, then you're running into the same problem that these other sites are. I mean, you're saying that they're not successful because they're not customized for you.
No,
You scale to
even if we actually scale this to the larger scale, we're going to approach not a top-bottom approach. We're going to approach this bottom-to-top approach. So we would actually incorporate all these special features for individual universities, so people can actually easily use it, not just feel like there's one tiny person in the entire United States.
So one university at a time.
Right. We actually calculate the numbers. We need about $2,000 for surface and the T-shirt price, and the domain and stuff like that. We actually calculate that if we successfully capture 20% of the Duke market, that's we will generate about $50,000 in cash. So that's 25 COC right there.
That's a big market share, 20%.
Right. But if you think about the alternative, you have to me it makes sense. As an undergraduate student who spends tons of money on textbook and have a lot of student loans, I can understand that even saving $20 and $30 would mean a lot to me whenever I'm talking about textbooks, and this would actually achieve that. Thank you.
All right, we have nomore.com followed by GraphLab.
Hi, good evening. My name is David Chow, and I'm representing a pioneering web-based language skills program. It's actually a web service for business professionals and students called nomore.com. And tonight I'm going to share with you about how this is going to become an indispensable tool for professionals in this age of continuous globalization. Everyone in this room is a member of the global community, and as business becomes more and more cross-national, your next job may depend on how you can navigate the global business world, and your passport into this world is your foreign language skill. Without a doubt, language skills are becoming more and more important every day, and although web-based services to improve language skills do currently exist, most offer limited and stagnant materials and lack multiple levels of language difficulty. Nomore has the vision of providing a solution by offering daily news in multiple foreign languages in multiple levels of difficulty for visitors to practice their language skills every single day. Users will be encouraged to practice reading in their foreign language because Nomore's practice materials will be fresh and relevant to people's lives. Who wants to read about an imaginary conversation between Juan and Maria about an upcoming test when they could read about real current events like the launch of Space Shuttle Atlantis or Sammy Sosa whitening his skin? Additionally, users will benefit from reading at just the right level of difficulty, neither too challenging nor too simplistic. Nomore will be a free web-based service that will earn income through ad revenue. Our mission to encourage daily foreign language practice to help sustain and improve language skills aligns perfectly with income generation. By attracting repeat visitors with our services, we will enjoy continual ad revenue. I'm confident that Nomore will become a supremely useful service and an indispensable tool for business professionals. Thank you.
How do you generate multiple levels of difficulty?
So if you have like a language textbook, you start off with a very basic speech, very basic words and grammar structures. And my team will include a language specialist and an education specialist that will help develop news articles that are in multiple stages of language reading level.
Sounds very labor intensive.
Yes, but I feel like a lot of people will find this service very useful, and though we'll be creating new articles, new stories every single day for very proficient language speakers, it'll be a relatively easy task to develop these materials and adapt existing news stories into foreign language materials.
Where will you get your news stories from?
Well, we can get news stories from like the AP or from just whatever is in popular news. And this will allow us to capture the interest of as many people as possible, just be as relevant to business professionals as possible, so that they'll find practicing their language skills rewarding.
Are there license fees associated with offering this news, or even changing it, translating it?
I believe there will be, and we'll have to explore that and look into that.
I think you're gonna have to pay for content.
Yeah, probably.
So how far along are you on the development of all this?
So this is just very preliminary. I'm only at the idea stage, but I've had some experience beginning my own kind of education-based business. So I started a tutoring company, so I also use the website to help promote that. So having that experience will allow me to get this off the ground and initiate this business.
Is anybody else working with you right now?
Not currently.
How modest of an investment?
$10,000.
What do you think you'll get with $10,000?
With $10,000, I hope to get a server for the website and get some language speakers that are very proficient, and a marketing specialist and an education specialist to provide this content.
So basically build like a prototype?
Yes, that's right.
Do you have any idea of the size of this market?
Yes, well, I'm just going based on like government statistics. 20% of government jobs currently require foreign language, and many more look favorably upon foreign language. And yeah, it's useful in business. Yeah, thank you.
All right, now we have graphlab.com followed by MoneyPennies.
Good evening, my name is Amy Tai, and I'm part of a team working to establish an organization known as GraphLab. After living in inner city Los Angeles this summer, I discovered that there are a lot of teenagers who seek to express themselves using art, especially graffiti. But the problem is that in Los Angeles in 2008, the city spent over $7.1 million on graffiti abatement, and yet the school systems had all their funding cut for arts programming education. So I ask you this, where are these kids supposed to have a legal venue to express themselves? And how can we help in a way that's actually sustainable and was going to make a difference in their lives? So GraphLab is a nonprofit organization that will be commissioning these teenage artists to design and develop specialty apparel, such as t-shirts. These t-shirts will then be sold with a description of the artist, and so it's combining a social cause as well as innovative designs. The profits from these t-shirts will be used to fund the artists' further education, from taking graphic design courses at local colleges or undergraduate education as well. So what type of market do we have for this? Well, currently t-shirts are a means of people are using to support various causes, such as going green and suicide prevention. So we argue that if we're putting these designs on t-shirts, it's a way to communicate a lot about the community, as well as to give consumers something that they're looking for. We've currently been discussing this option with retailers such as those working at Urban Outfitters, and we have a contact of a wholesale licensor named Ryan Tang. And he's told us that there's a possibility that they would be interested in developing a nonprofit line. Our team consists of a marketing department, a marketist working with Capitol Records, who has suggested that we can get different music artists to support our cause. If they're able to wear these t-shirts, then we're able to reach an even larger consumer base. We are currently seeking $25,000 in startup capital, mainly to buy the rights to various artworks and to seek to establish a collective that can get in touch with these artists on a more consistent basis. And we've also begun prototyping here at Duke University. We've gotten the Duke. Thank you.
How do you plan on marketing t-shirts? I mean, say that Urban Outfitters doesn't pick it up, how are you going to get these marketed and sold?
Yeah, for the first year, what we're planning on doing is raising awareness at schools like UCLA and USC, specifically because they're in the area and they're already aware of the inner city, the needs of those working in the inner city. And then from there, we're hoping to target local stores in Los Angeles and kind of do grassroots marketing for the first year, and then see where that goes from there, and eventually convince some of these other retailers to adopt the cause as well.
to the cause or the artists? That's the beneficiary here of the artists.
That's correct, yes.
Sounds like you've got some contacts and you've done some prototyping. What other progress have you made toward creating the business here?
In terms of creating the business, what we've done is we've begun collecting various designs from these artists just to get a sense of what it would take to actually transmit their artwork into something that's formatable and can be placed on various products. And we've begun speaking with other people because initially we're targeting t-shirts as the first product, but we're hoping to branch out later on into laptop covers and iPod covers as well.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Money Pennies, followed by Optimal Surgical.
Good evening. My name is Zachary Isaacs, here with Matthew Lasardo and John Michael Pennington to discuss Money Pennies, the leaders of the sleeveless revolution.
Sleeveless mesh practice jerseys, better known as pennies, have become a popular apparel item in the high school and college age demographic. Pennies, unfortunately, are only available through athletic participation and custom bulk ordering. A quick Google search will reveal that no retail supplier actually even exists. Yet as our market surveys have demonstrated, there's a tremendous demand both at Duke University and at universities across the country for such a product. We seek to apply striking slogans and catchy graphic images to the penny to meet the demands of this untapped niche market.
The execution of Money Pennies will require meeting several short and long-term goals. Currently, we're in talks with different screen printers and regional producers of mesh jerseys, and also we've reserved our domain name, getmoneypennies.com. We're currently developing this to become a fully functional internet store. We're looking for a March 1st full launch date where we have 4 to 5 pennies for purchase. Now on the site we'll also have some fun features like horror stories of sleeve wear, as well as penny picture contests where you submit yourself wearing your penny. For marketing, we'll also, along with the website, we'll have some less costly sources such as word of mouth, social networking, and popularity due to our witty designs and logos as we've seen in graphic tees. And in the long run, we're looking to expand to a more national level. This spring, we're going to set up a stand at the NCAA Lacrosse Championships, where hopefully Duke will be playing. Also, we're going to target specifically fraternities and sororities, as well as employ local reps at other universities and high schools.
We appreciate this opportunity to discuss our idea with you. We're currently seeking $1,000 in startup capital for web design costs and initial production costs. Thank you.
So you'll basically be working with existing bulk order companies to create your designs on the pennies?
No, we've actually contacted bulk companies of the pennies themselves who sell them to like high schools or college lacrosse teams. But right now the bulk order companies online, you can send them your image and have like 100 designs for $20 a piece. I've researched it down to buying these pennies for as low as $3 a piece, and then through contracting a screen printing company directly for about $2 additionally, we'll put our designs on those pennies, kind of getting rid of the bulk company idea.
Okay. And how much will you sell them for?
Approximately $15 to $20, depending on our market surveys.
So what are you basing the popularity of pennies on? Just anecdotal data?
We've done surveys with peer groups across universities, mainly at Duke, but also at schools such as University of Southern California, UPenn, and NYU, and we found that over 75% of people would be very positive to buying a penny for $15.
Are these for intermittent stores? What are they for?
Well, we found that the penny has been taken out of its original context as the lacrosse practice jersey and now can be used as a form of just casual wear. We even think it can become a form of formal wear. We made for a penny. It's the tuxedo penny. It says "Tasteful Sleeveless" on the back.
Where are your pennies?
We have them. We have pennies.
We're basically trying to take this off the athletic field and make this kind of a designer wear-around
In
item.
the classroom, in your living room. That seems to become part of this like bro culture, which is stemmed from the lacrosse idea where people wear them to the beach. I'm from Long Island.
Just men or men and
No,
we have
women.
women too.
Women have actually, in our
Sororities.
surveys, been more positive to the idea than that.
We have a lot of sororities on
Our
campus
first-
who both voted.
our
Our
first
first penny sleeveless in Seattle will feature King Kong flapping his Space Needle. Other catchy slogans: emancipation from slavery, sleeveless revolution, life, liberty, and pursuit of sleevelessness. We're basically just going with the fun idea because we're part of our demographic also.
What's unique about this? How do you protect this?
I think
We're actually welcoming.
Yeah, we want this to become a big industry, but we think that we all have a lot of design expertise, and I've been working with actually a graphic design major at Yale, and we just think that we're going to provide a different product that will have the initial complete market share. So if it becomes a popular enough idea that other people start producing these, that means we've been a success.
And also too, I think that we basically came up with the idea for ourselves. I came to school with about 10 pennies, and all my friends stole them from me, so because they couldn't buy them on their own.
All right, finally we have Optimal Surgical.
Hi, my name is Elena Pleatman, and I'm here to represent Optimal Surgical and our device, the Catechut. The vision of our company is to provide surgeons a safer and more effective way to perform eye surgery. Our device simplifies the most difficult part of cataract surgery. Cataracts occur when the lens capsule of the eye becomes cloudy due to aging and impairs vision. Over 20 million cataract surgeries are done each year in the US. Over 50 million are done each year in India and China. And by age 80, half of all Americans will have cataracts. Cataract surgery is performed by making a circular incision in the lens capsule to remove the contents and replacing them with an artificial lens. Currently, this is done by taking forceps to tear the circle in the lens capsule, and if this procedure is not done perfectly, serious complications can result. Our idea is to simplify this process by using a circular blade that perfectly makes an incision every time, not only decreasing complications, but also makes the operation safer and easier to learn for younger surgeons. We currently have developed a prototype and have done some animal testing, and some further modifications need to be made before submitting to the FDA for a Class 1 approval for this device. And we're working with Dr. Michael Richard of the Duke Eye Center, who was the inventor of the idea. We're looking for $1 million of startup cash, and we're first going to launch it into the domestic market, followed by a launch into the international markets in year 5. And this device that goes to the international markets will be reusable, because that's the model that they use. And in addition, we hope in year 5 to be acquired by a large medical device company. Assuming that we have a 10% market share in the 5th year, you'll receive a 6.6x cash-on-cash return for your investment, and that will include a 20% equity in the company. And additionally, you will know that not only you'll have a great return on your investment, you'll be helping people worldwide who are suffering from blindness due to cataracts. Thank you. Yeah, we've done some extensive IP analysis. There are some similar devices, but we have found our way around the patents that currently exist, and we are hoping that the funding that we would receive would help us submit a patent for the device.
So I was actually going to ask, why hasn't anyone done this before? But if there's already similar devices out there, what is going to be unique about your device? Are there circular blade devices already that do this?
There are none currently out in the market. I think the problem is that surgeons are picky in the way that they do their surgery. They learn it a certain way, and they want to keep doing it that way. But we hope to initially target it towards residents and surgeons that are in training, because this is the most difficult part of cataract surgery. It's really hard to learn it, and it takes a while for you to be proficient. So our target would first be the younger surgeons who are still learning how to do cataract surgery, and have them learn on this device. And then eventually that would become, the common way to do it, and that they would be teaching younger surgeons after them to use it do it this way.
But isn't that the same challenge facing devices that are already out in the market that aren't necessarily successful?
We still need to do research on why the devices that are currently patented have not been launched. But we've talked to a number of ophthalmologists who think this is a great idea and it would make a huge impact. And our other model that's important is, since we're going to be having a reusable model in the developing world, a lot of people lack access to get cataract surgery because there's few surgeons. And they have to wait for someone to come to their specific village or to a rural area to do many surgeries. But this will allow surgeons with not as much experience to be able to do this operation because they're currently limited by not being able to do this part of the operation.
What's your revenue model with a reusable device?
So we've done research and found that it should cost about $5 to produce the device, and our selling price would be about $25. So cataract surgeries cost about $1,000, so this would be a really small, almost like insurance, to decrease the complication rate. So this would be paid for by the hospital or surgery center where the surgery is being performed. And surgery is usually covered by insurance. Thank you.
Hi guys. So yeah, I'm one of the co-presidents of the challenge this year. Second year MBA student, as Stephanie just said. I just want to say two things. The first is that I was a finalist last year, and I know from personal experience that it takes a lot of courage to stand here and pitch. So I'd just like a round of applause for all the participants today. The second thing I'd like to say is I'd just like to talk about the executive summary competition that takes place in January. So that's when the executive summaries are due. Basically, it's a 5-page description of your business that would go to a panel of judges, reputed venture capitalists and lawyers around this area. And the finalists would then be making their final pitches to the panel again in April. Competing for the grand prize, which is $25,000. I was here, sitting here for the entire evening today, and I think all the pitches were fantastic. I just want to say sometimes we feel that an idea isn't good enough. There are some high-tech ideas, and a website idea sometimes does not. We feel that it's not going to hold up, but that's not true. I had a simple website idea. I did make it to the finals last year. It's all about believing in the idea and just believing that you can make a buck out of it. And so I'd encourage you to participate in the executive summary competition. Before I leave, I'm just going to remind you that this Friday is a great opportunity to meet Bill Maris. You all know he's the co-founder of Google Ventures, a great guy. An opportunity to meet him, to hear his stories, and also to cheer for your friends who win here tonight and during the other track events later on this week. Thank you very much for being here.
So while we're waiting on the judges and their choice, I'm going to call up Mr. Howie Reed, who's just going to speak for a minute about other entrepreneurship opportunities here at Duke, Dees, and what his role is.
Sure, thanks. I'm short here, so I got to lower this. Hi, I'm Howie. I don't think I know most of you, but I am the managing director at the Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation over at Fuqua. I'm also a Duke alum, and I work closely with Larry Boyd. Larry, raise your hand. I know some of you take Professor Boyd's class. So I'm filling up time here, so I'm going to, but hopefully I'll fill up your time with something interesting. There's a lot of stuff going on in entrepreneurship at Duke. Even some of you that are juniors and seniors won't know some of these things that are going on. So I'm going to talk you through a couple things. Actually, Larry, if you want to talk about DoHatch too, maybe we'll do that in a minute or two. Okay, so I'm going to tell you about 3 things. One is called the Duke Global Entrepreneurship Network. How many of you heard about that? Have heard of that? Let's see a show of hands. Okay, so about 25%. 2 is the Duke Entrepreneurship Education Series. How many of you have been to one of these weekly series sessions? Let's see, again, a show of hands. All right, about half of you, okay? And 3 is the Program for Entrepreneurs. And it's going to seem like a broken record, but let's just see a show of hands. How many of you know about the Program for Entrepreneurs over at Fuqua? We got one, he's enrolled, so that doesn't count. A couple here. Okay, so let me just go in order here. So the Duke Global Entrepreneurship, Duke Gen, what is it? So here's the problem that I think a lot of you probably have faced. You're probably like, wow, there's a lot of really smart, interesting Duke alumni. It'd be great for me to bounce my idea off of them or something like that. Here's the problem, is that you don't have access to the Duke alumni directory. And even if you did, it's actually kind of hard to find people and where they work. So the Duke Global Entrepreneurship Network, or Duke Gen, is a 1,400 person strong, actually it's 1,500 now, of alumni and students. And you can join right now. You can go home today. It's www.dukegen.com, D-U-K-E-G-E-N. And you can sign up. There's a discussion board. You can ask alumni questions. There are probably 100 venture capitalists that are Duke alumni that are on this list. You can connect with them as well. We actually have happy hours all over, and looks like we've got a winner. Okay, so they're going to blank the slide and update it. So I've got a couple more minutes. I'm just going to touch on the other two things very quickly. The Duke Entrepreneurship Education Series. This will take a little bit of time, actually. So the Duke Entrepreneurship Education Series, for the half of you that haven't been, it's a weekly series that Larry and I co-run with the Duke Startup Challenge and the Entrepreneurship and Venture Capital Club. It's over in Tier, and it's over at Fuqua, and you all are welcome to come. There's weekly speakers. We post the slides and the videos online. I hope that you'll join us. And the last thing that I'll plug, actually maybe it won't be the last thing, but I'll call Larry up here. So the Program for Entrepreneurs. So almost none of you know what this is. And Dimitri, actually, if you don't mind, I'm going to actually call you up here to say a couple words. So why don't you come on up here, just to give you perspective. And Dimitri, what year are you at Duke?
Senior.
You're senior, okay. So the Program for Entrepreneurs, and Rich, Rich West here is one of our advisors. So if you've enjoyed Rich's comments, the Program for Entrepreneurs is actually a way for you to engage with a guy like Rich more deeply. So what is it? Basically, you can start a company, get course credit for that, while you're still at Duke. So get your degree and start a company at the same time. I think that all of you are kind of in our target audience. How can you get involved as undergraduates? Well, so the program's already in session. There's 16 teams that are currently going through. The way that you can get involved is on December 3rd, Thursday, December 3rd, we're having an information session over at Fuqua. We're going to be having all the teams kind of pitch there. So it's almost like tonight, only this time you'll be just in the audience. They'll all pitch. If you see an interesting team you want to join, you try to match with them. If you match, you can enroll in the course and you can start receiving course credit towards your degree while starting a company. Econ credit or MMS credit. So, or MMS credit. So with that, Dimitri, as a senior, if you just don't mind saying a couple words about what your experience has been with that.
Sure. Really, it's a great experience. I mean, number one, you get to work on a startup that is in different levels of development. Currently, I'm working on a startup. Entagenetics actually won the Startup Challenge last year, trying to manufacture spider silk and use the use it for kind of ballistic fiber applications and other applications as well. Personally, I think that the greatest kind of benefit I've gotten out of it has been to be able to work with MBA students on a weekly basis, kind of learn from them, and also work with kind of the founder of the actual project. I guess, normally you don't really get the opportunity to work with MBA students, on a one-on-one basis, unless you're actually a Fuqua or MBA student yourself. And this way you really get to learn a lot from them, while also kind of developing as an entrepreneur. And it doesn't, this way it doesn't have to be your own idea, you just tag along with, one of these other ideas that you might be doing very well, and then, maybe if it does extremely well, you can actually join after graduation as well. So, it's a really great experience. If you want to learn more about entrepreneurship, if you want to network with other, MBA students and other undergrads as well, and also meet, different advisors that are kind of helping the teams along in their growth as well. So,
that's great. Thanks a lot. That's really helpful. Yeah. And Rich, you've been involved for the past year and a half now from an advisor's perspective, and just having seen a lot of stuff going on at Duke in terms of entrepreneurship. Do you have a perspective or two to offer, and then are we ready to go? Okay.
I think, what's impressed me is the quality of the companies. So a lot of these technologies are some of the best that Duke has to offer out of the scientific community, and then they put them together with some really smart and dedicated MBAs. And in a school like this, they pull in engineers and scientists and docs from the medical school along with the MBAs, and it creates, for a school-based team, it really can create quality companies. And we've seen some of these companies begin to do pretty well, get financed and such. So it's a great way to learn, but also a great way maybe to be employed by one of these companies if they do well.
That's great. Yeah, I agree. Thanks a lot, Rich. Appreciate it. I'll turn it back over.
Thank you, Howie. And we definitely want to say thank you again to all of you who competed today, and thank you to our judges. So let's just, before we announce the winners, so with our polling technology in true American Idol fashion, we have found an audience choice winner today, and so I would ask them to come join us up front for a picture, and that would be Wasabi. So Mike and Rich, could we get you up front here as well? And our team from Wasabi today will win $100 in cash as well as a copy of QuickBooks Pro.
Over here, guys. Good.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Okay, thank you guys. Again, a final reminder to come join us on Friday. It really is going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be free food and drink, beer and wine if you're over 21 before the event. You can join us at any time after 5. The event will actually kick off at 6:30. We'll be hearing from the best pitches from around campus. And a Judge's Choice winner here this evening, winning $150 in cash, is Wasabi.
It's proof that bribes work.
So
we didn't even make the audience sushi.
All right. If you guys don't slide over so he's out of the light, that'd be great. A little more, a little more, a little more. All right, good. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Well done.
Will you be able to
Um,
get feedback from the audience or judges this evening, or when will we be able to do that?
Yes, and there's one more thing, I guess, a couple more things before we finish. Because Wasabi did claim the audience choice and the judge's choice, there is another copy of QuickBooks Pro up for grabs, and that goes to the judge's runner-up choice. So this evening, the judge's runner-up prize goes to Immunodispense Pro. So we'll be receiving a free copy of QuickBooks Pro. Finally, again, we do want to thank our sponsors and the judges. Maybe they have a few minutes to stay around and speak with some of you. If you did fill out any of the feedback forms for any of our competitors this evening, please return them. You can hand them to me or just place them on the judging table, and we will get those to the competitors. And then feel free to connect with each other, to reach out, to help each other. And feel free to join in any of the opportunities that Howie talked about this evening. We want to thank you for coming, and we look forward to seeing you on Friday. Thank you.